Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. This video I'd like to show you how to make square for week 9 of the Crochet Along Last Dance on the Beach by Scheepjes. This square has been designed by Dedri from Look at What I Made and in loving memory of Marinka. If you're using yarn from your kit, you'll either be using the Color Crafts or the Merino Soft yarn, and please check the pattern to see exactly which color yarn you need this week. Regarding hook sizes for this week, I used a 3.5mm hook for my Color Crafter square and a 4mm hook for my Merino Soft square. This is 0.5 millimeter smaller than my gauge swatch, so I dropped a hook size this week. But then again, maybe your gauge is totally different and you do not need to drop a hook size. This is really personal which hook you need for this square, as always for this project. I'll be taking you step by step through the rows making up this square. Hope it's a useful video for you. Thank you for watching. With a slip knot on my hook, I'm going to chain 33. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 31. Let me just grab that again, 31, that was 32, 33. We're now going to skip the first chain from your hook and in the second one work a double crochet. Skip the first and in the second work a double, and you're going to work one in every chain stitch. That's going to be 32 doubles in total. Work a double crochet on every stitch. And then your last chain stitch, like so. And then you've worked row 1, which is 32 double crochets. Row 2. Row 2 is going to be the repeats for this pattern. Start with a chain 3 and turn your work. This chain 3 counts as your first treble. So our next stitch we're going to work, and we're not going to work in that very first stitch there because a chain 3 already counts for that. So you're going to go to your next position. You're going to work a treble in there. So not the first one, second, because the chain 3 counts as a treble, like so. Now we're going to work our first cross. Cross we're going to work over 4 stitches. You're going to skip the first stitch, then work a treble in the second, third and fourth stitch, and then we're going to come back to the stitch that we skipped and work a treble through there. No, it sounds like magic, but we're going to make this work, don't worry. So, skip the first stitch, that's this one, and then in the second stitch, that one, work a treble. Also in your next stitch, and in the next. So you've now worked 3 trebles, and you see that hole there from the stitch that you skipped. Just going to open up. So what we're now going to do is we're going to yarn over, and then we're going to put your hook through this stitch. So literally through the stitch that you just skipped. See it here from the back. We're going to pick up a loop through this position. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook, pick up a loop, and bring to the front. So let's do that. To yarn over, we're just going to make a treble, nothing strange in that, but it's just the way that we're doing it. I'm going to fold my work back and turn my hook a little bit to get into that stitch. And this can be a little tricky the first time you're doing this. And you see how I'm through both loops. I've got both loops of the stitch on my hook, because this is also that can easily go wrong, that you accidentally only have one of the two loops, for example. So you see I'm from the front to the back. I'm going to pick up my yarn from the back, bring it through the stitch and to the front. And what's important now is that you really open up this loop. So really pull it up to where you're currently at your current working position. So don't keep it closed like this. Really open up this loop. And now you complete a treble like normal. So I'm going to yarn over, take off 2 loops, yarn over, take off 2 loops. And what you've just done, you've worked your first cross stitch. And this we're now going to be repeating 7 times. We're going to make 7 of these along each row. So this was the first one. I'll show you again. Yarn over. I'm going to skip the next stitch. Now just take a moment to see where you're currently at. This is the stitch where you were last worked in. You see, that's that stitch there. So the next stitch you're going to skip is going to be this one. And then in the stitch after that, you're going to work the first treble of 3 again. So last stitch worked, skip a stitch, and in the next work your first treble. And 2, 3 trebles. Now we're going to come back. So again, fold your work a little bit to really get your hook into that stitch. And it can be easy if you just support a little bit with your fingers, especially when your work is still small. When your square gets bigger, it's easier. Through the stitch, see there, through the stitch. That loop you see there is from my yarn over. Pick up, bring to the front, open up your work, open up this loop, and complete your treble as normal. You've worked 2. Again, third one, yarn over, skip the next stitch, and work 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3 trebles. Coming back to the stitch that we just skipped, through that stitch, make sure you have the entire stitch on your hook, pick up your yarn from the back, bring to the front, and open up your work. Complete your treble. Again, skip the next stitch and work 3 trebles. So 1, 2, 3 trebles. Come back to the stitch that you just skipped. So insert your hook in there. Pick up the loop, open up your loop, and complete your treble. Now done 4 of these, you want to do 7. I'm going to do 2 more, and then I'm going to make a small jump in the video. So I've made 4, to make 2 more, and then I'll show you the last one. One more repeat, skip the next stitch, and on the stitch after that work 1, and then on the next again. I see there I've only got the 1 loop. You really need to make sure you have both loops of a stitch, 2 trebles, and then the 3rd treble. And now we're going to come back to the stitch that we skipped, in there, Make sure you have both loops on your hook. Pick up your yarn, bring to the front, open up your loop and complete your treble. At this point you should have 2 stitches left and the turning chain, and those 2 stitches you're going to work a treble on each, which is 1 and also on the next. The chain 1 turn here, you're going to leave that, you're not working on that chain 1. So that completes row 2. So we've now done the first row. I just want to check how we are for size. I've just got my gauge swatch. Just going to put my work on top of that, like so. And what you see is that you're nicely within the edge of these double crochets, and it fits well. So I'm going to continue with this crochet hook size and just complete my square with this hook and this way of working. If you're really over like that, do consider dropping a hook size. I'm going to continue because I'm happy with this. So row 2, which you've just done, is basically you're going to repeat this row for the entire square. So row 2 is the same in row 3, 4, 5, 6 until 14. So you're going to make 13 rows with these cross stitches. Of course row 1 also counts, so the total square is 14 rows. I am going to show you this repeat one more time because I especially want to make sure that you know what to do on the turning chain stitches, that you don't accidentally make a mistake there. So I'm going to show you this one more time, row 3. And then from that on, is just keep on repeating the same pattern. So row 3, again, chain 3, turn your work. Now this chain 3 counts as a stitch, so we're going to work another treble, but not in that first stitch. So that one there, that counts, the chain 3 counts for that stitch. So on the next stitch we're going to work the first treble. So not that stitch but the second, work a treble. So now you have 2 trebles, the chain 3 and the full treble, let me call it that. Now we're going to work a cross stitch again, so exactly the same as before. Skipping the first stitch, that's this one, and then work a treble on the next 3 stitches. So skipping this stitch on the second, work a treble, and the third stitch, there we go, and the fourth. Now we're again going to come back to the stitch we skipped, that's that stitch there, and again work a long treble into that. So yarn over, again fold your work ever so slightly to really get into that stitch. See how I'm through both loops there. Pick up your yarn and bring to the front and open up that loop again. Really important that you not work like this, but really open up this loop. And then work your treble as normal. This is your cross again. I'm going to show you a few more, but this you're going to repeat on all positions, so you're going to be doing 7 of these along here. So this was 1, so on all of these repeats you're going to make 7 crosses. So again, skip the next stitch, that's this stitch, and then the stitch after, work 1 and 2 and 3 trebles, then come back to the stitch that you just skipped and work through that stitch, so into it. And if you're ever in doubt, just check that you're through both loops. Come back up and complete your treble. Show you once more. Yarn over, skip a stitch, 1, 2, 3, come back to the stitch that you skipped, make sure you're into the stitch properly, pick up, oh wait, now I've actually snagged my hook somewhere, so I'm just going to do that again. So if you snag your hook, don't force it, just do it again and complete your treble. Now done 3, continue like this, and I'll see you at this point for the last repeat. So just for the last repeat, again yarn over, skip the first stitch, it's going to be this one here, and on the next stitch work a treble, and also on the next 2 stitches of course. So you're working 3 trebles, and now we're going to come back to that stitch we skipped, that one there, let's yarn over, come back to it, fold your work a little bit, make sure you're through the entire stitch, pick up your yarn from the back, bring up, pull up, open up that loop and work your treble as normal. Now at this point you should have 2 stitches left, the treble here and that chain 3 from turning, and you're going to work a treble on both of these. And that last stitch, the real stitch, that shouldn't be that much of an issue, but this chain 3, really make sure you work onto that stitch because it's easy to forget. I'm going to yarn over, and on that treble work a treble, and now we work a treble on the chain 3 on the top, this first chain there, and sometimes it is just a little tricky to get into, so when you're working this stitch really make sure you're getting into that top chain, so you might really have to just punch your hook into that top stitch and then complete your treble like so. Then you've completed row 3. Let's just take a look at where we are at the moment. Your work now looks like this. You've completed 2 rows of cross stitches, and you need to continue this repeat until you have 13 rows with crosses. So keep on doing what you've just done. So row 2 and row 3, and work until you have 13 rows of crosses. When you've done all your rows, you've done 13 rows with crosses, we can do the border. I'm going to start with a chain 1 as usual, and now we're going to make 26 double crochets along every edge, also again exactly the same as we've done all the weeks before. We have 13 rows of crosses, so I can make 2 double crochets on each row, and that will give me 26, so that's actually very easy this week. I'm going to do 2 double crochets, and I'm just going to hook them in the chain 3 spaces and on that last double crochet. Go all the way around. When you get to a corner you do 3 double crochets and you just mark your center because that's your corner. You can mark it with a thread or a stitch marker. Go all the way around, 26 on every edge, and when you get to the beginning close with an invisible join or a slip stitch on your first stitch. When you're all done, your square looks like this. Take the time to block it, then it just becomes a little bit more crisp and straight. You're going to make 4 of these for this week, and when you've done that, you're done and you're ready for next week. I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.